Hello, beautiful people. I am excited. I feel like my knee is really protruding right there. So I'm going to put her down. I'm really excited for this video because we're going to be decoding Gymrat vocab or Gymrat Brocab, if you will. I made a list, and honestly, I have like 100 terms on this list. And so I was like, dude, I have to break this up into like smaller videos. Otherwise, we're going to be here for like fucking 3 hours. So this is going to be a 4-part series. There's going to be a gym brocab video where it's like more of the type of terminology that you see a lot of fitness influencers use, right? And then we're going to get into like actual training vocab. Like what's a dumbbell, a kettlebell, like equipment stuff that you need, like if you're getting more serious about the gym and your training. Then we'll get into anatomy vocab. So talking about the different muscle groups and how gym bros refer to the muscle groups. And then the final one is going to be about nutrition, supplements, like dieting stuff, more nutrition based stuff. Okay. And I think this will just be so fucking helpful because I feel like when I first started out, I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Because we have so many little like terminologies that we use. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's just jump right the fuck into it. Starting with 1 RM or 1 rep max. A lot of my clients ask me what the fuck that means. A 1 rep max is typically something that we use when we are referring to squats, deadlifts, and bench. And it's basically the most weight that you can push for 1 rep. So your 1 rep maximum weight that you can push. And yeah, that's all it means. Strength athletes mostly use this terminology. You won't really see like people who focus mainly on like aesthetic or bodybuilding attempt 1 rep maxes as much. Next, gym brocab, PR or PB, personal record or personal best. This just means basically this is the most weight you've ever pushed or maybe the most reps that you've pushed of this weight. Whatever it is, it's a personal record for you. Like you've never pushed this much weight for this many repetitions. So you could have a set PR, you could have a rep PR, or you can have just a number PR. Like, oh, holy shit, I just deadlifted 270 pounds for 1 rep. I've never done that before. And then maybe several weeks down the line, you pick up 270 for 2 reps, and that'll be a new personal record. Does that make sense? Number 3, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. DOMS is basically, it just means soreness. Like, bro, the DOMS are hitting so hard today. Like, the muscle soreness is just hitting so hard today. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness because, as you know, after a hard workout, you don't typically get sore until the next day or the second day. So that's DOMS. Next, we have spot. Bro, give me a spot. Bro, can you spot me? A spot is just asking somebody to spot the weight for you. Maybe they helped you on your lift off. That's another bro term. Like if you're shoulder pressing really heavy dumbbells and you need someone to like help you get it up because the dumbbells are so heavy and like help you maybe get that first rep up, someone just spotted you and helped you with your lift off. If you're benching really heavy or you're squatting really heavy, even deadlifting really heavy, and you want to make sure that you're safe, you might have somebody come up behind you when you're squatting and squat with you to spot you. Or if you're deadlifting really heavy, sometimes you can get lightheaded. You might have someone stand behind you or in front of you and like prepare to catch you if you happen to pass out. I know, super intense. And then for benching, someone spotting you and helping you bench so that if you can't push the weight up, the bar won't fucking smush you to death. Now, nowadays, squat racks have safety bars and benches have safety bars too. So sometimes you don't even need a spot anymore. But it is also kind of nice to have somebody there to like cheer you on, who's watching you, who's performing the rep with you, if you will. It can be really encouraging. So that's spot. Then we have a half rep. Bro, he just does half reps. Like he doesn't even go full range of motion. Half rep is somebody who is not squatting or performing the movement to full range of motion. Sometimes we might refer to someone as a half squat Harry, you know, just someone who they're bitching out. Like they're not going full range of motion. They're leaving gains on the table. So a half rep is when somebody, like, if you're doing bicep curls, you don't go all the way down and all the way up. You kind of like, you know what I mean? Anything that just looks like a fucking half rep. You'll know it when you see it. It takes one to know one. You know what I mean? I'm getting passionate and my throat's starting to get itchy because I have a tendency to talk really loud. Anyways, next vocab word, pump, bro. My pump is so sick right now. I love how I'm like saying the word, pronouncing the word, and then using it in a sentence. Bro, my pump is so sick right now, bro. A pump is basically, if you've seen Pumping Iron, classic documentary, it's like I think it's like the documentary that like started to popularize bodybuilding and strength training. But Arnold says that the pump is like this feeling when the skin is stretched. Basically, when you're working out and you're like pumping iron, like you're working out really hard, you're going for a lot of reps, you know how you get that burning feeling? Blood is starting to rush into your muscles, and so you can be pumped for like a couple hours to maybe even days. But basically, it's just when you're working out really hard, working out so hard, blood starts to pump into your muscles, and your muscles appear bigger than they are, and like you feel a stretch, like you can feel your skin stretching. You can feel that the muscle is fatigued. That's kind of what a pump feels like. So you'll hear a lot of people be like, bro, I'm just chasing the pump. Like they go into the gym and they typically perform really high repetitions to promote the blood rushing into the muscles to make their muscles appear bigger. So like people will also like, you'll see girls taking ass shots and they'll show their ass before the pump and after the pump. It's also like why guys do push-ups before pool parties. They want to get pumped to make their muscles appear bigger before pool parties. Maybe girls should start fucking hip thrusting before pool parties so our asses can be fat. You know what? Guys should start hip thrusting too. We want guys with big juicy asses. Anyways, I digress. That is pump. Next word on the list, deload. So a deload, you'll hear someone be like, bro, like I'm so fatigued. Like I've been working out for weeks on it. I've been working out hard as fuck. I'm really feeling like I need a deload. My strength has really gone down. So after several weeks of training really fucking hard, close to failure, you start getting fatigued. Your body starts accumulating fatigue. And you need a proper deload. So a deload can look like maybe you take a week off from the gym. Whenever I talk like really loud and passionately, I always burp. Does anyone else do that? Anyways, maybe you take a whole week off from training altogether, like you don't even step foot in the gym. Some people will just cut their training volume in half. So maybe instead of doing like 4 sets of everything, you do like 2 sets of everything. Some people will just pull back on their intensity. So maybe instead of training like 2 reps away from failure, they'll train 5 reps away from failure. A deload is just a week or so where you're pulling back on your training, so that you can lower your systemic fatigue and come back stronger than ever. That's what a deload is for. Next, we're kind of halfway through the list now. Training split or a training block. You'll hear a lot of fitness people refer to this is what my training split is. So your training split is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's how you are splitting up your training throughout the week. So some people do a push-pull legs split. Some people do an upper-lower split. Some people do a full body split. And I guess I should explain that more thoroughly. Push-pull legs is exactly what it sounds like. You have a push day, which is mainly triceps and chest and shoulders. You have a pull day, which is like a back and biceps day. And you have a leg day. Upper-lower split is you have a dedicated upper body day and a dedicated lower body day. And you most likely repeat that 2 to 3 times, hence upper, lower. Full body split is you hit full body several days in the week. People who like to train full body, you can either be like a Jeff Nippard type of person where you train like 5 to 6 days a week full body, or it might even serve you to train full body as a beginner who only has like 1 to 3 days a week to train. That way you're hitting all of your muscle groups 1 to 2 times throughout the week. Now, if you're somebody who trains more like 4 times a week, you might benefit from an upper lower split. If you're somebody who trains 6 days a week, you might benefit the most from a push-pull leg split. The push-pull leg split is like the classic bro split. There's also like the bro split where you do like, oh, today I train arms, then I train shoulders, then I train back, then I train chest, where they kind of like break up their muscle groups like one at a time. I feel like I took way too long to explain that. But that's what a training split is. It's just how you split up your training throughout the week. A training block is like, I would argue like a minimum of 6 weeks where you are improving a specific thing. So like maybe this training block, you're really focusing on bringing up your glutes, and you do that for like 6 to 12, maybe for 20 weeks. You know what I mean? And then in another block, you're focusing on bringing up your calves. So that's kind of what you're focusing on. That's kind of how I would describe a training block. I might have to look that one up. Hello, sisters. I actually ended up Googling what a training block is. From what I found from like the first 2 to 3 clicks on Google that I found, people have different interpretations of what a training block is. But a training block is just a block of time that hopefully you're slowly going up in intensity, and then at the end of the block is a deload, and that would be considered a block. And then I guess you can repeat that block again as many times as you want, or you can take the end of a block as an opportunity to change out your accessory lifts, to maybe change the focus, to maybe change what you're trying to specialize. It doesn't apply as much to, I guess, like beginners. I think training blocks become more important for like beginners that are transitioning into intermediate, and then like intermediate and advanced lifters. But when you're like just a beginner, you really don't need just go in there and have fun. Just go in there and have fun. Make your newbie gains. And then when you notice your newbie gains, it's getting harder to make gains, then you can, you know what I mean? You can get into the nitty gritty of it. That's my interpretation of what a training block is. Don't come for me if I'm wrong. Next vocab word, a drop set. A drop set is a intensification technique. So a drop set is basically you pick a heavy weight, you do that until you hit failure, then you drop the weight and you do it again. So it's a really nice way to approach failure multiple times in the same set. I really like drop sets. I've recently started incorporating them, and I'm obsessed with them. Not only because, I don't know, it's just intense. You can approach failure multiple times, but then also the pump goes crazy. The pump goes nuts. So that's the drop set. AMRAP is the next word. AMRAP just means as many reps as possible. Again, another intensification technique. Typically, you'll see people use AMRAPs at the end of their workouts. Like, you just finished your push day, and then you finish with an AMRAP of push-ups, and you just do push-ups until you fucking die. It's great. You get great pumps. It feels nice. It feels like you're fucking going to work. I'm a fan of AMRAPs. I haven't personally used AMRAPs too much, but then we have a superset or a giant set. You'll see a lot of fitness influencers specifically. I feel like they love doing supersets, but a superset is when you do 2 different exercises back to back. So maybe you do like barbell back squats, and then you do leg extensions. And that would be like hitting quads twice. It burns like a motherfucker. Maybe you could do like single leg RDL, and then you go into like abductions. The point of it is just like, again, another intensification technique to really get a pump and like burn out that muscle. Also, you can do like antagonistic supersets, and that can just help you like shorten your workout. What that means is you'll do like opposing muscles. So maybe you'll superset like your hip thrusts with your squats, or I've seen like you could superset a lower body movement and a upper body movement, and you can just like really condense your workout. Like if you're somebody who you're just like in a maintenance phase, you're just trying to keep the habit alive, you need to get in and out in like 30 to 45 minutes, maybe throw in some supersets, or maybe you just for whatever reason have to shorten your workout. You're still trying to make major gains, and just for that day, you decide to superset some of your exercises. That's also a function of supersets, which I've definitely done that before. And then you also have a giant set, which is just anything, a superset that's more than 2 exercises. So maybe you like superset 3 exercises together, and that's a giant set, or 4 exercises together, and that's a giant set. I don't see as many people do giant sets as they do supersets, but I have seen giant sets before. We're getting close to the end of the list now, but then you got warm-up sets. If you're not warming up, you're doing it wrong. So warm-up sets are just the sets that you do leading up to your working set. So girl, imagine you're super strong now and you can squat like 200 pounds. You're not just going to jump in and immediately put 200 pounds in the bar. You got to warm up a little bit. Maybe warm up with the bar. Then maybe you warm up with 135. Then maybe you warm up with like 170. And then you hit 200. And then 200 would be your working set. Does that make sense? Warm-up sets typically lead up to the working set. And you slowly add up weight. Like maybe you'll do 1 to 3 warm-up sets before your actual working weight that will count towards the total work you did that day. Warm-up sets typically don't count. So like if you're programmed 3 sets of 10, if it took you 3 sets to finish your warm-up, that doesn't count. You still got to do your 3 working sets, which is what will count towards the program. And that's when lifting gets fun, when you have to do warm-up sets, because it means that you're strong and badass. Okay, we have 4 vocab words left, and they kind of all go hand in hand. Powerlifting, bodybuilding, and then there's stronglifting and powerbuilding. So powerlifting is strength athletes primarily focusing on the big 3, the squat, the bench, and the deadlift, and that's their sport. So powerlifting is a strength sport where you end up going to a competition and you compete and you do your 1 rep maxes in front of everyone. So you do your 1 rep max for your squat, your bench, and your deadlift. So that's what powerlifting is. Sport of powerlifting is super dope. I've dabbled in I think I did a strength block that was 12 weeks of peaking for a powerlifting competition, even though I didn't actually compete. But it was fun to get better technically at performing the big 3 and seeing my strength go up. So that was dope. Then you have the sport of bodybuilding. These are hypertrophy trainers. Yes, you're training to get stronger, but primarily you're training to build muscle. And what a lot of people don't know, unless you're in the strength training, weightlifting world, is that how you train for strength, how you train to test your 1 rep maxes is completely different than how you train to build and maximize really big muscles. So that's what bodybuilding is. Bodybuilding is the sport of fisiculturismo. How do you say that in English? Bodybuilding is the sport of just perfecting a body. You're literally chipping away and building your own, what is it called? Your own Michelangelo. What is that called? Your own Greek god. You know what I mean? So you train really hard, typically in the higher rep range, higher volume, and then you pull up to a stage in scantily clad bikini or what is it called? Swim trunks. Are they trunks? Swim undies for men. And you show off your bod in 3 layers of spray tan. And that's bodybuilding. And then you have stronglifting and powerbuilding. Both of these were coined by just people who like to strength train, don't necessarily need to do it for sport. They don't necessarily want to compete in powerlifting. They don't necessarily want to compete in bodybuilding, but they like to power build. They like to both train for strength and for hypertrophy, and they like to do a mix of both. So that's powerbuilding. And then stronglifting is a term that Dr. Brett Contreras coined. He basically invented his own sport, which is adding on to powerlifting. So stronglifting is the big 6. So it's the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. And then he added the chin up. He added the hip thrust and the overhead press. So stronglifting is similar to powerlifting. It's just not as popularized yet. I'm sure it will be. I think it's a great sport. And that's all the words that I have for today. But there's just so many words, so many. We literally created our own language over here in strength training in fitness world. But yeah, that's literally all I have for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe if you want to, or don't. Share it with a friend that you think needs to spruce up their Gymrat Brocab. Oh, and you can click the little notification bell to know the next time I post so you don't miss a thing, girl. Okay, and that's all. Thank you.